This is the perfect shrimp, made my way, with the rubber legs bent with heat, with a cauterizer. This is a perfect fly for sea trout. Fantastic fly, made originally by Kern Leolund from Denmark. I want to show you how to tie this my way. So just buckle up, set yourself in the seat and watch my video. It's coming up. Let's tie some flies. Well, I start with use this hook, saltwater shrimps from Partridge, size 4. It's the right hook for this fly. I had adjusted it a little. I have bent it like Kern Leo does on his flies. I secure it in the vise. Further on, just make sure it sits perfectly. I start with attach my thread. I use white thread instead of mono because I think the mono thread is too slippery. That's a matter of choice. Okay, wind up, and I start also with attaching some lead. I used lead from 2 wires that wind together. Snip off, and I just make my fingers and make it to the underside of the hook. Just use some wraps to make this sit as you want it. And now I gotta have some little mouth parts. I use the teal feather for this. I have snipped off the stem and used only the fibers. And I use some homemade dubbing for this. I don't have any see-through dubbing like Kern does, but I use my own, mixed together with some flash and some nice colors. I use a little ball, make a little ball with the dubbing to make this look the way I want it. Well, now I'm gonna put on the first set of legs. I use this kind of Crystal Tech. It's a kind of thread, silicone thread, very strong. It's a size 0.8. I attach this on the side. It's a little long, so it could tangle up a little bit. And attach it securely. And I tip my vise upside down and attach it to the other side. Use the underside. And use my thread to tie down the bump that this thread is creating. And now I'm gonna take my cauterizer to heat this thread to make a little knee joint. You can use this in several types. I have a type that is attached to my socket. You can also get some battery powered one. Adjust the length of this leg a little bit so it be easier to use. Now I'm gonna take on a little more dubbing, make a little bump again, and now I'm gonna put on the eyes sooner or later, but I have to make a little tuft of dubbing first. and some Craftfur. I put on some Craftfur now. I take some grizzly one I have. You could use many types of crafter for this. You can also use some markings with a Sharpie. Yes, and I just attach this, use the ends and snip off the buttons, sorry, and take the rest of the dubbing and just wind it over like that. Now I'm gonna put on some more, a little more dubbing, or just eyes now. I use my homemade eyes. It's made by mono burnt and with sealed with some hot melt black glue. Very solid, it doesn't break on you. And use the curvature on the nylon thread to make it stay the way you want it. Point out from the hook. Use some wrappings. Make this look perfect, just the way I want it. Wind back, secure the eyes. You can also take some super glue to make it sure that eyes don't slip on you. I use some strong glue for this. Like that. Now the eyes don't slip on me. Now I'm gonna attach the silver wire. I use this instead of mono because I think mono is too slippery and I like wire, make a shine to it. You attach it to the far side so you don't drag the legs out of place when you wind it. And you take some more dubbing on this thread, attach it, wind it round, and put on second pair of legs. Now we have it. Put on just the same procedure as you did last time. Attach it and use. Drag it around the underside and attach it on that side. The way you attach this leg, it will stay on more secure because you have it around the hook bend. Adjust a little on this, and now I take a cauterizer and make a knee joint on each leg. Heat it up. Be sure not to touch the legs and then it will melt down for you. You see, now it slips into place, and use it on the other side as well. Try to make the leg hang freely. Adjust it a little bit. Snip off some of it so it hangs freely, and use a cauterizer and make the knee joint. You can see how the knee bends. It stays that way. Okay, now I'm gonna put on some more dubbing. Just take on. Just fill up the body before you put your last set of legs in. You have to make the legs on the front part of the body. Attach it. And as I used this method, I see it's more easy for me to tie this fly. It's more easy for me to make the leg look the way I want it. I think you have more control this way. But that's a matter of taste. Some like it to tie this fly traditionally. I like to try some new methods and make a new knee joint. You see, the legs are coming perfectly. Same procedure on the other side. Try not to touch these legs, then they will break on you. Like that. Now all the legs are perfectly done. I just have to attach some more dubbing. And use it. Make the body so nice you can have it. And some more dubbing now. And I take on. Now it's place to put on the tails, but maybe I just have to take some more dubbing. I try and see if this. And the tip for you is to make this tail very long, because this part, so the front part should be used as legs, but antennas and legs, but it have to be long enough to put it in the material clip. Now you take on the tail. The same part, but now with some dubbings on it and under it, and it will be easier to make it stick like you want it. Now you try not to make these parts overlap each other. You have to stay parallel, and this was the first one place. And you put on the second piece like that. Adjust it till it stays the same. Okay, make sure that this, both of the loops are just the same size. Just try to attach them so it fits. Secure it with some thread wraps and put these ends parallel into the material clip. Well, I just have to adjust all the shrimp shells and legs so it sits beside each other. and attach this. And now it's time for putting on the rib. Just find my material hackle plier and attach it. I like this because it's the most easy way to hackle this thing or rib it. Just try not to tie down the legs. You have to be very careful. They're solid. It's not about that, but it doesn't look right if you tie them down. And you have to always try to get them out of the way. And tie in between the legs and over the shrimp shell, like that. And tie it down against the tail. Pick it out if it's tied down. Adjust it. And this is why I use the wire instead of the mono, because it's more pliable and also have a little shine to it. I think then it will be very nice on the fly. So wind down to the tail and make sure that the wire is securely attached, and helicopter it off. You can't do that with the mono. You have to use a wire or scissor, but I was unlucky there, and it's a little stump sticking out, so I have to take my scissor or nipper and just snip it off. Yes, that's all you have to do about this. Soon the tying is done, and you have to go on with the rest of the fly. There is some coloration left, and also have to adjust front legs so it have some knee joints on it. So now I'm gonna pick out the two middle ones in front, because I'm gonna cut them. There are not legs, it's just like it acts like an antenna. And be sure now to take the middle ones, not the one on the side. I make sure that's pick out the right ones and snip it off to the right length, like this. Okay, now I'm gonna use my cauterizer again, but first I have to snip the legs a little shorter, so it's be more easy to see when it bends. Now I take my cauterizer, and be sure now not to touch them, because then they will melt and ruin your fly for you. You see how easy it is when you have the right hand for it. But optimally, I should have placed the hook the other side in the vise, so I can get it near me when I use the cauterizer. But I have to do this, I've done this this way on this video, but it's all turned out okay. And I'm gonna cut them a little shorter now, because they have to look nice on the fly. Does that on the legs as well. Too long legs on the fly is not very nice to see. Now I just adjust the legs a little bit and I just take my little comb. This is a patin comb from Stonefall, and brush out the dubbing to make this a little more shiny and translucent. I like that. It looks very nice in the water too. This fly is now very solid. You can reinforce it with some UV resin on top and some super glue on the joints and what you want. But the legs themselves are not being weakened by my cauterizing. You see, it just has an altered shape on it. It looks like shrimp, doesn't you know? Do you agree with me? Sorry about my English, it's not so good. But now I take my little black Sharpie. I have another pen for it. Not a Sharpie, I have a black instant marker. And I use a little hacker plier now to take control of the legs. And a little tip for you: the more you stretch your legs, the smaller the black spots will be. So you can adjust how big the black spots will be on a fly. Don't be worried if you put on, the legs won't break on you. It sits very firmly if you have done this right. It will not pull off the fly. Well, you see, when I put the color on the legs, how nice this fly looks. Very nice. You can also use experiment with more colors on the legs, but that's not important. And surely the fish don't mind. You can fish it without the markings as well also. But I like it. I like a nice fly in my box. That's a little about the fly tying part. So you can also use your hands, but I think it's much easier for me to just use a hacker plier, because you have to take the legs by the tip. Oh, that was a nasty one. Yeah, we get hold of it. Okay, soon ready now. And I have to color the tail as well, and use the black marker there too, so it looks nice in the back. This fly, it will make a difference. It's fish very good, and it's very realistic, and it's very nice to have in your box. So this is a very thank you to Mr. Kern Leolund from Denmark, who came up with this type of pattern. This is not a replica of his fly, but this is my variant of it. It's very similar, but I've used some other dubbings and some other techniques. But I think it will fish just as good. But as I said, you have to experience with the color on this legs, and if you want the front legs to stand up a little more, you can add some super glue like I'm doing here. And you can also blow on it to make this glue dry and make the front legs stand up a little. You can also use it on the thread wraps in the back of the fly, like I'm doing there. Yes. Well, this is the finished touch with this fly, and I thank you all for watching my video. Very nice. And now this fly is done, so just go on, put it on your leader, and go out and fish this little fly. And to you all in all over the world, I thank you all, and tight lines, and goodbye from widows and fly fishing.